It's an ongoing something. It's an ongoing thing. Don't forget, we have a panel of inquiry that was set up by the governor. Of course, they've been sitting. People have been going to that panel of inquiry. Submissions are being made by individuals and groups and institutions, to that panel of inquiry. And of course, there are also actions that the government would take without resort to the panel of inquiry. Just like you asked about the recoveries that the government desires to make, we've continued to identify government property, government institutions, government lands that were criminally appropriated by individuals who had no business doing it. The government is very much on top of that to recover these things, because there are things you do not even need. For example, as a government, if this property belongs to this government and somebody appropriates it for his own personal use, occupies it illegally, and government lays hands on the necessary documents to establish that this property belongs to the government, what the government needs to do is to assert its authority. Government is such a legally recognized institution, so powerful to recover whatever belongs to it. So we are very much on top of that. But then, nobody should expect us to behave like a military administration. This is a democratic government, and our actions, our activities, our conduct, our utterances must be in tandem with what the law says, must be in line with the due process expectation.
When you pointed out necessary documents, it's marks of evidence, and that is not what the opposition People's Democratic Party are saying, especially those of the immediate past administration. They allege that there is lack of evidence from the part of the government in terms of these looted properties, and they equally talk about bias. How fair has the panel been during this very process?
The panel hasn't submitted this report. If you say lack of
they say there are some utterances he made, which
who made?
Those who are part of that very panel of inquiry.
Can you give an example?
That's what they said. They said
they should be able to give an example. No, they should be able to substantiate whatever claims. You see, you can't bully the members of the panel. You can't bully them. Forget all these things that are coming on air to fabricate.
Just coming to you to say, do you think it has been fair enough for someone who's been very close to the process?
Of course, it hasn't even gone to a point of anybody saying the panel is unfair. If you judge that this is a siege strategy, you understand? They want to kind of besiege the panel, fabricate all kinds. Nothing has even. And if they are telling you the panel, they should be able to back up such claims with facts, so that we will be guided by what they're saying. For example, the PDP say that this is. I will be able to respond to that, but it's an empty statement. They just come up and fabricate all kinds of things. There are institutions, government-owned schools, government-owned lands, government-owned buildings that were appropriated by these people, and it's not in dispute as to whether those institutions or lands belong to government or not. But because they had the opportunity of presiding over the affairs of this state, they automatically assumed that whatever belongs to the people is their personal property. And this present government is saying no. Just a few days ago, Dr. Otti was saying that if let M.I. Okpara, let the Sambakwe had appropriated public property, public institution, public land like these people did, that would they even have any place? Would they even have any institution to work from? Would they even have any land to call government land? Have you ever heard that this land belongs to Dr. Sambakwe? Have you ever heard this one belongs to Okpara? Have you ever? What do they have? But these people came here with this senseless, desire, senseless urge to convert everything that belongs to the people.
Plans are underway.
Very much that when all of them are going to be recovered, they can attack, vilify, abuse. We are not here to engage them in any war of words, because whatever Governor Otti's government wants to recover, he is not recovering for himself. The maximum he can stay here as governor is 8 years, and he moves on with his life. So whatever belongs to the people must be recovered, and you have them in abundance. People have information, people have facts, people have evidence to substantiate, and these things are verifiable. So it's something that this government is trying to do in the most responsible and constitutional matter, in the most orderly manner. Forget what they are fabricating. It doesn't change anything. You don't run. What if you have information, provide you with evidence of what these people did, you will know that they were just simply callous because there was no basis to do what they did.
All right, let's move on and talk about another issue which, of course, caught the fancy of the governor during that very executive council meeting. This has to do with the enforcement of ban on street trading, and I want to find out from you how that is going to be, and ask you as well if it's not going to leave those who are in this very act of street trading, if it's not going to increase the difficulty they are going through at this very point. Are there plans as well to settle them appropriately in that very time?
Well, street trading is something that affects every citizen. It's not as if these are legitimate places that our people are, and you want to remove them. But then, whether legitimate or illegitimate, the position of the government is that we will not chase people away without providing an alternative. For example, if you look at Gate is a nuisance, and no responsible government will allow Gate to remain the way it is. The chaotic, environment there, the confusion, the lawlessness, the nuisance, and everything. The place, even if you tar that road 10 times, it will still collapse as long as people are trading there. Traffic challenges and all the rest of them. So whichever way you look at it, it affects everybody. So what does government want to do? Government wants to relocate the people to a place that has been identified. Initially, what has delayed it? Initially, a place was identified, but the government felt that that place is far from where these people are at the moment. So the government has been searching to get a conducive, very accessible place and put the necessary mechanism in place that would help them feel more comfortable trading there. So across the state, government is going to stop street trading because it's a nuisance. If you go to Abia, if you go to a place like Ngwa Road, if you go to a place like Mosque, if you go to a place like Asa Road, Axis, if you go to a cemetery, if you're Fox Road, you're heading to area, and many other places, you see that those places just are eyesore. But so it's the responsibility of government to sanitize the environment, and people will just be happy. The government has countless programs and policies that it intends to implement that would help upgrade both our commercial nerve center of Abia and our state capital of Umuahia, and the government is doing that. And one of the policies that the government must take to do that is to build new markets. And for example, you can, whether you call it I don't know how to describe it, just artisan or vegetable or whatever markets, just small markets where you can move. For example, those trading along Ngwa Road by East, by Mosque, you can decide to move them to another place. For example, there is a place called Good Morning Market. It's between Ngwa Road by East and leads to Opobo. Leads to the other part of Emelogu. There are market shops there that people are not occupying. Empty shops, but people do not. So it is the responsibility of government to go and put that place in order, provide water, provide electricity, move people to that place, and they will leave the streets.
How about consolidating on other markets where the previous government had relocated these markets to, and perhaps making it formidable if it's not up to par?
Of course, government will do that. If you look at the policies of this government, you know that we believe that anything that belongs to government, it doesn't matter who initiated it, must be executed. If you look at it, for example, when we rebuilt or renovated the hospital, the diagnostic hospital, there, it was abandoned. That's the truth. Government equipment provided all that is required to be there. And it's functional. Government could have chosen to ignore, but that is not in the character of the governor. Look at how much that has been upgraded and equipped and provided with all that. And the government is still doing more. Look at the commissioner's quarters. These are government institutions. It wasn't built by the governor. But the governor is retrofitting all these places. Go to Banquet Hall, Government House. That's where we're going to do our next the media chat that will be hosted by the governor. Go there and look at how beautiful. Prior to now, you can't even enter the toilet. It was stinking everywhere. The place was decaying. And these guys were operating. They still abandoned it. Look at the Mekomera guest house. Here, just after Damgrade. By the right there. Go there. Just walk in there and see for yourself. It wasn't built by the governor. I think it was built, I don't know whether it was built by Governor T.O.G. or his predecessor. But the Argon government just abandoned it, and it was decaying. There were just about 2 or 3 rooms that were functional. But they were staying there, they didn't care. And you have guests, you go and lodge them in hotels and be wasting public funds. Because it didn't matter to them. They always looked for an avenue to siphon public funds. But what did we do? For example, on assumption of office, some of our appointees were kept in hotels, and that is not in tandem with the governor's ideology, governor's philosophy of frugality in governance. They had no choice than to keep people in the hotels, and upgrade and put this place in order. Go and look at it now. So if any visitor comes tomorrow, because we have suites in that place, so those are the things we are doing. So if there is any market that the previous government has started, and of course we move in and do the needful. We are determined to do that.